Greetings, Club Newton members, and welcome to this week's episode of Seeing Fit Tips. This week I'm going to tell you a little bit about the hanging position and good shoulder mechanics. Now, a lot of people have trouble with pull-ups, with hanging from a bar or other objects because their shoulders tend to give them a little bit of trouble. They tell me that their pain in their shoulders is a little bit too much. And it comes from the fact that we're just not used to hanging from our shoulders. We are very used to being on our hips quite often. In fact, when we walk, when we run, doing all these things, we're usually on our feet. And so our hips are very, very stable. And they're also a more stable position simply because the ball and socket of the hip is a more stable joint. The shoulder, not so much. The shoulder is a wonderful joint because it is so mobile, but that also tends to lead to a little bit less stability. So, what I like to tell people when it comes to hanging from the bar, there's a couple different tips that I like to give people. First, never just hang from your meat. Now, let me tell you what that means. A lot of times when people get up here on the bar, first thing they want to do is just relax and let everything hang. But as you notice, my shoulders are very close to my ear, and I don't like that. I would prefer my shoulders be down and away from my ear. And what that means is that I'm staying active in my shoulder position. I'm using these large muscles of my back, my chest, and the other muscles in and around my scapula and my shoulder to get in a good position and stay nice and tight, alright? It's the same concept as if you're standing here and you just let all your muscles go in your hips, you're just going to fall. You're not going to be in a good position. So, when we're hanging from these bars, we want to make sure we pull those shoulders down and away from the ear. So as we get into that pull-up, we're in a good stable position. As we come down, again, we don't just hang from the meat, we stay here in a good position. I also use the cue, break the bar when it comes to it. So if you imagine that bar in my hands, I'm breaking it by turning my hands down and out. And what that does is activates these big back muscles to keep my shoulder in a good position. So, ways you can practice this: grab a bar and hang from it. And really make sure that you can keep those shoulders down and away. You can place a box underneath your feet so that your hands are right at the bar, and just work on pulling down with those shoulders to get a good scapular retraction and get a good stable shoulder position. That's been this week's Seeing Fit Tips. My name's Lucas Woody. You stay fit, members.